inside joke. Oh God. Woo, woo, explosive, explosive man, woo, explosive man. Woo, oh my goodness. Woo. You good? Hey everyone, and welcome to Space Lizard Exotics. I am so excited to be back in the Cayman Cave. If this is your first time visiting the channel, well, we are in the Cayman Cave. We are in the Cayman Cave. I am super stoked. It's one of my favorite places to be in this whole world. But let's get cracking. Let's get busy today, but let's talk about some things real quick. Hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to that channel. Click the little bell notification too. That way it does a little notification when we come out with videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays from Space Lizard Exotics. Super stoked. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It literally means the world to me. Been having a blast with it. Hope you all have been having a wonderful time watching me, rant about these glorious little reptilian beings and all that jazz. But anyway, enough of me yapping about all this mumbo jumbo. So we have some things to discuss about caiman development. Rolly pants. So let's discuss some of these things. Let's get one of these little gremlins out and let's start chatting. So let's get cracking, man. Grab one of these little beautiful little gremlins out of here. Oh my goodness. So, you know who this beautiful, glorious gal is. This is my beautiful girl Nebula. You can always tell by those little bright eyes of hers. Oh my goodness. Those little whites in her eyes are always showing like she's just like curious enough to know good. I love her. Oh my goodness, look at that. Anyway, this is my baby girl Nebula. So she was my first dwarf caiman, actually. When I first got her, she was just baby, like super tiny. If you get a chance, literally go check out some of my older videos, whether it's on TikTok or YouTube, and you actually get to see her as like a little baby. She wasn't that tiny, but she was a little baby. She was so cute. And you also get to see it on my Instagram too. So if you haven't yet, check out those other outlets where all the Space Lizard Exotics excitingness is. You get to see my beautiful little swamp goblins grow from little babies to eventually just big dragons. Yeah, oh God. She doesn't really like when I talk loud. I know I sometimes have a loud voice, but have to speak at appropriate volume so we get everything on the videos. So what we're going to talk about is when they're hatchlings. So when I first got Nebula, I've had her for about a year now. So she has grown, in my personal opinion, quite substantially actually. So when they're hatchlings, their features are identical to basically like adults to an extent as far as like coloration, the beautiful browns and those beautiful amazing tones that they have. Spectacular in my opinion. I absolutely love it. And another crazy thing about them when they actually hatch is that, well, basically their sex, right? Whether they're male or female, all depends on the temperature of the incubation process, right? So genuinely, colder temperatures are going to produce more females. Warmer temperatures are generally going to produce more males with Cuvier's dwarf caiman. So kind of cool, kind of neat to know. So it must have been your cheating, and you must have just been your coat, and you said, I'm a female right now. That's exactly what happened. I don't know, maybe. But the growth rate I find is very interesting with Cuvier's dwarf caiman. One thing I did want to cover with their growth rate is that they say they grow between 6 to 8 centimeters a year. That's pretty good, right? So they get about 5 feet when they're fully grown. So full maturity in any type of Cuvier's dwarf caiman is going to take literally about 10 years for them to fully develop and for them to completely be all their adult characteristics to be prominent and popping out and then just being awesome and just amazing, right? Amazing. From what I've seen, and this might just be, because I don't know, I'm just super stoked that my caimans, perception and perspective of somebody else's animals might be always a little bit different, who knows, but they have grown substantially pretty dang quick in the first year in my personal opinion, especially Brutus, which I'm about to get him out here pretty soon. But to be quite honest with you, I think a lot of that has to do with their diet. When I first got this beautiful little lady, so she was eating crickets or the dubia roaches, which in the wild, that's what baby crocodiles and caimans and alligators, that's what they're going to be eating, are very small bugs, small fish, small little crabs, small lizards, snakes, stuff like that. But when they get older, and when they can start taking down larger food items or being able to catch them a little bit easier, they're going to start eating more heartier foods, right? In captivity, they're generally going to live a lot longer than in the wild, right? So wild, about 40 years, captivity up to 60 years. So I'm going to be potentially having to pass this beautiful little gal down to, I don't know, somebody. I don't have no kids, so some lucky chap potentially might be getting these dwarf caimans 60 years from now. With her, I started changing her diet as soon as I could, because in my personal opinion, you want to start feeding them a little bit more heartier diets, start getting them, you know, a little bit more hearty, way more nutrients in those too. Now, dubia roaches do have a lot of calcium, but in my personal opinion, definitely not enough protein for, you know, them to be, you know, hearty and healthy and to have a very good growth rate. So what I started doing immediately, I started feeding her tilapia, red meat, so like steak, some even tried hamburger at certain times. So red meat's a little iffy sometimes, so it can be a little bit sometimes harder to digest. Realistically, their stomachs are like iron, so they can break down literally anything. It is so it's literally so acidic, and plus when they're chewing it and they swallow it, it's like these little rocks, right, that literally break down the food itself almost once they're like swallowing, and it breaks down, and once it gets their stomach is so acidic that it's just going to eat through practically anything. One thing that I personally recommend is, if you can, you know, go pick up like a fillet, like a tilapia fillet, feed them some tilapia here and there. I feed mine a lot of mice, or even sometimes a lot of small rats too, because it has the calcium with the bones in it, and it's very, very rich in protein, especially rats. Rats are a lot more higher in protein, and of course the calcium with the bones to get them young up. So I fed them really good yesterday. I gave them a lot of like good little nom-noms, and gave them some feeders yesterday, didn't we? Some little feeder mice. So, and I do change their diet up throughout the week, so sometimes I come in with a little smorgasbord for them. So I'll have some little bit of tilapia, might have a couple pieces of, you know, nice, very good little pieces of steak on there. You eat better than I do, woman. And sometimes we'll just give them some mice too. So I thought that was really cool about talking about how, well, when they fully mature, like I said, 10 years, this beautiful Cuvier's dwarf caiman is going to be fully matured, and she is just going to be absolutely a spectacular, amazing animal in our collection here at Space Lizard Exotics, huh? Crocodilians, as well as caimans, are their own species, but they are technically cousins to the crocodile. But they all make lots and lots of sounds. They are very, very vocal animals, so they're always going to be making little sounds. When they're older, a lot of them are mating sounds, so when they're bellowing, things like that. Now when they're smaller and they do that little sound, like that little squeak or that little bellow, that is actually usually them calling for their mama or calling for reinforcements, because they are like, hey, I don't know what's happening right now, not 100% comfortable with it, but I think I might need some help, or I think I may need to warn my brothers and sisters or my other fellow little caimans that there's some weird
Italian Nephilim holding me right now.
A lot of things that, you know, we do in these videos are all for benefiting them when they get older, trying to get them more socialized. That way we have a lot more of a fun, enriching experience, especially when they get older, right? When they get older, their bites are not as funny as when they're little babies like this. You want to try to avoid those bites practically 100% when they're large, because you do not want a trip to the hospital, or have to, in my case, I don't go to hospitals, I just kind of like, well, might have to get some super glue and some little thread or something. I don't know. Another crazy thing about Cuvier's dwarf caiman that I have kind of touched before in my other videos is that females are going to be a lot smaller than males overall. So they're only going to be usually about 4 feet. Males will generally reach about that 5 feet mark, and sometimes females are only about 3.5 up to 4. Brutus, in my personal opinion, I think that he is going to be huge. He's already showing signs of him just being an absolute beast, and especially with his little personality sometimes. Good sassy man. A lot of times what we do here too while we're hanging out, so I'll literally just kick back with her in here and just kind of pet her. I'm petting her back right now. The reason why I pet her back a lot is because she hates her back touched. Oh my gosh, if you've seen some of the previous videos of me doing this with her with the toothbrush, she instantly tries to bite the toothbrush. Oftentimes does get it, so we're trying to get her used to me doing that consistently. After she's actually bellowing, and I think she just peed on me actually. Yep, she was peeing. Oh my goodness, honey. Oh, she just peed, so she's scared. I'm gonna get her back in there. We don't want to stress her out too much. Honey, it's fine. Why'd you pee everywhere? I'm like, oh, you peed. You peed on Dad. You did. She just peed on me. Oh man, why'd you go pee pee? We're gonna get you back in there. We're gonna get Brutus out. He's gonna try to fight me and bite me and stuff. But we're gonna talk about more growth rate stuff and all that jazz. Okay? So let's get you back in there. Woo-wee! Howdy. No, I'm joking. He's a big caiman. Look at this. It's like double her size almost. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I know I always show that off every time, but I'm very impressed. Sometimes it's hard to tell how big he is on camera. But trust me, he's huge. So this is my beautiful Brutus boy. I literally have to hold him with 2 hands. If not, he'll eat me. Or try to eat me. Because he's big and strong. Huh. I could definitely validate that he's definitely grown at least 8 centimeters in a year or more. So I should have measured him when I first got him. I was able to grab him with 1 hand, no problem. Now that you can tell, I'm literally having to hold him with 2 hands because his tail is practically the size of his whole entire mid-torso body. He's a little bit, he's a little bit more explosive at times than Mrs. Ma'am over there, which is funny because, you know, he's a male. He's trying to assert his dominance with me, which is funny because I just want to point this out when I do, you know, have interactions with him, especially in the enclosure, or if I take him out, he does try to assert his dominance with me a lot by puffing his chest out, or he'll come up out of the water and kind of posture, right? He'll posture out. So if your dwarf caiman starts doing that, especially if you have a male, he's sizing you up. That's exactly what he's doing. They're just trying to posture with you and he's trying to show me that he's boss. But let's be honest, Brutus. I'm the boss. Woo! Woo! Explosive. Explosive man. Explosive man. Woo! Oh my goodness. You good? But hey, if you ever do handle dwarf caimans, or if you're thinking about owning one, just remember that, hey, they do grow pretty dang fast. They're fun to handle. I absolutely have a blast. I know I kind of covered a lot of the growth rate stuff, including like them being fully matured in 10 years, things like that. But one thing I do want to point out, when they do fully mature, all their full characteristics, including they have very, very predominant teeth, right? So dwarf caimans are known for their funny, gnarly looking teeth. They're of course they're all cute right now, but when they get big, those things look crazy. It's like literally like you have a little dinosaur. Crazy thing about their teeth though, so they're used when people have, you know, hunted these or poached them before. They used to use their teeth for like amulets and things to keep away like evil things. So apparently their teeth are holy. I know these little holes in the hand. One thing about these amazing, awesome caimans though, is when they do get bigger, you are gonna have an amazing, awesome caiman, but importance is socializing at this age. That way you get to know their mannerisms, their temperament, and how explosive they can be. That way, well, just be kind of ready for anything when you're handling them at times. When they get larger though, this is very, very, very important. I do want to talk about this. These are extremely strong bodied animals and extremely intuitive and intelligent. I know a lot of people are like, bro, it's an alligator, it's a caiman, there's nothing going on in this dome piece. It's just like, they're very smart. When they do get larger, be sure that your enclosure, whatever you have planned out very thoroughly, and that you yourself can't even escape it if you were locked in it. There has been many instances, a lot of stories with owning dwarf caimans where they have gotten out of their enclosures. And if you have other animals, or even if you don't, you definitely don't want a larger caiman getting out of its enclosure. Most of the time they're going to hide under something. They're going to try to get behind something that feels secure, or hide under something. But even then though, you definitely don't want some big caiman to be getting out of its enclosure, or something getting into its enclosure, because as you could tell, lightning extremely fast like that, and they're explosive at times, right? So you don't want that, huh? You don't want that. So when you get bigger, buddy, we got to make sure that we got those locked down, right? Locked down. That way you don't get out and try to bite dad's toe off when he's sleeping. Hey everyone, in the space lizard exotic community, I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be tuning out here in just momentarily, but hey, before we tune out, have you hit that subscribe button yet? Have you? Tell him, Brutus. Tell him. Well, if you haven't yet, Brutus has something to say to you. Tell him to hit that subscribe button. Yeah, alright. Well, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, checking out the channel. If this is your first time, hope you dug the channel, hope you dug this video. And, well, if you have been visiting the channel, thank you so much for the support. It literally means the world to me. I have a blast doing this, and thank you so much for, all the love and all the support, all the cool comments. And thank you for tuning in and enjoying these beautiful animals just as much as I do weekly. And everyone, stay rad wherever you are at in this glorious, beautiful world, and we will see you all next time.